and we're going to start it off with some news with the Dolphins now giving the starting quarterback job here to Tua Tagovailoa. And look, right now the Dolphins 3-3 coming into the bye week. Ryan Fitzpatrick's actually not playing too bad. They had a really nice win against San Francisco, but hey, now it's Tua's shot here. And that's something for me, which is really interesting with this whole QB class here from 2020. Obviously, have Burrow, you have Tua Tagovailoa, you have also Justin Herbert playing really good right now. And honestly, I think it's really great to see all three of them now playing. And I think at least two out of the three have pretty good rosters with the Chargers, with Herbert, and now with Tua and the Dolphins. But Jackson, what are you thinking here with that move with Tua? And do you think it was the right move? Because a lot of people think it was really premature.
It's tough to say. Based off history in the past, I would say this is probably the right move if they think he's ready. With that said, does anyone really know if he's ready? Because when was the last time we saw Tua Tagovailoa on a football field, other than this past Sunday for basically the last 2 minutes of that game? The last time we saw him was getting carted off with a really serious hip injury when he was playing at Alabama, which sucks, by the way. That is one of the most debilitating injuries you can have, especially as a football player. I mean, this is exactly what happened to Bo Jackson. And we saw how his career changed after that. So it's tough to say because let's talk about Ryan Fitzpatrick for a second. He's been terrific. There's no other way to put it. I mean, back-to-back really dominant performances. Yes, one of them was against the Jets, but beat a really good 49ers defense. And I mean a really good 49ers defense. And yes, that's a 49ers defense that's missing Bosa, but this is a really good defense that he shredded apart. And he's got the 7th highest QBR in the entire league right now. That's not a guy I usually go away to, but what I think back to here, and I think of history when I think of this, is when the Chiefs traded Alex Smith and went to Patrick Mahomes. And obviously, I think a lot of people were in the same boat that probably are in the same boat here that thought Fitzpatrick should have kept the starting job because Alex Smith was fine. Alex Smith did a great job in Andy Reid's system, and even though Alex Smith was a safe quarterback, you had a guy behind him in Patrick Mahomes, who is obviously now the best quarterback in the NFL, maybe the most talented quarterback in NFL history, if we're being quite honest. And even though a lot of people thought that was the wrong move potentially at the time, it ended up being the right move. And maybe, honestly, they were too late to go to him in that field because they ended up going to the postseason in Mahomes' rookie year and ended up losing to Tennessee at home somehow. So I think that as much as I love Ryan Fitzpatrick, and he's arguably my favorite quarterback in NFL history as a Jet fan because he is solely responsible for the best quarterback season in the history of the New York Jets. As much as I love him, if Tua's ready, Tua's the guy, and you go to Tua now. So that's where I'm at. I can't say if he's ready for sure, but if he is ready, you don't waste time going to him because he is the future of this franchise. There's no doubt about it. And even as good as Fitzmagic has been, if Tua is ready, you have to go to him now.
Yeah, I mean, I think really this reminds you of the Mahomes situation. It reminds me of when Eli back in the day got his starting job for the Giants. Yeah. I mean, I think there was just a few tweets about it with Kurt Warner saying like, look, how to let the young guy play because it's about the future. And really right now, what the Dolphins have done with Brian Flores, I think that's a great hire. And I think they're really trending in the right direction. And as much as, look, you were saying Fitzpatrick, your love affair with the Jets. I mean, I think a lot of people love him. He's playing really good football right now. But to me, with him at a certain point, he's going to start to dip. And he's going to have that bad game where like, oh, Fitzpatrick had his day. It's like Fitzmagic or Fitztragic. And look, he has both of those days. And right now, look, the Dolphins are 3-3. They're kind of riding a hot streak here. It's the bye week, which I think is the biggest thing here to bring in Tua because, again, it's something that, look, you at least now have a week to run over the game plan with him and you can implement some new stuff if needed. And, again, I feel like really the whole the Dolphins organization, I think they're really moving in the right direction. And I think putting in Tua now, he must be ready because I feel like they put a really good foundation around him, good head coach. They went out in free agency, got a really good players around him. And now it's like, it's time to go with Tua. So I really feel like that was a good move.
And here's where I'm at with Fitzpatrick too, because I didn't, honestly, he came out with the comments today, which was really interesting. I mean, there were some interesting comments basically talking about
He's
there's
keeping
no
it
other
real.
like this where you essentially get fired, yet in the same day you have to sit in 4-hour Zoom meetings with the boss that fired you and the guy that's also replacing you, which has to be tough. I mean, I don't care how much of a veteran you are. That has to be a really difficult situation for any quarterback. And even a guy like Ryan Fitzpatrick, who has been essentially everywhere, has been in situations similar to this before. It's got to be frustrating too. And I don't blame him for letting out his emotions, even as a veteran, because I think honestly he's got a right to be pretty upset because he has played really well. And he has honestly, he probably deserved another week as a starting quarterback. With this all said, though, he is kind of playing it twofold here because if you go back to when the Dolphins first drafted Tua, Ryan Fitzpatrick said, whenever he's ready, I'm going to be the biggest cheerleader there is. So if he's going to make comments like that and when this happens, going public the way he did and making those comments, I don't think it's the best look for Fitzpatrick. And I get it. It's frustrating. To have to go through that must suck. And honestly, I made this analogy before the show, but I compared it to like someone being in a relationship with someone that's good and good enough for now, but you meet someone else that you may think, hey, this might be a better situation for me. And you end up leaving the person who was good in the first place. So that's it. It might be a crazy analogy, honestly, but I think it's honestly a very similar situation.
I mean, it works.
That is. It does work. Yeah, it works. We're going to call it that. Thank you, Andrew. But I was looking for some validation there and someone to step in, and I realized you were the only one who really could there. But yeah, no, like that's where I'm at. And it's got to be really frustrating. And behind closed doors, do whatever you want. But in the public, you got to put on a smile face and say, hey, I'm here for Tua. I'm going to support him in any way possible. And even as frustrating as it must be for him, I didn't love the direction he chose to go with the comments. And I don't think it was anything malicious, but I still think it could have been handled better.